Currently, a young detective named Sonia Summers is driving to the outside of Libra after being transferred there as a punishment for stirring up trouble with her superiors. Just as she enters the dark, gloomy area, she almost runs a man over. Stopping her car, Sonia comes outside and finds that the man was running away after robbing a woman. So, as a police officer, she immediately runs after the man, all while reporting this crime to the authorities over the phone. But she makes the mistake of putting her full focus on the robber and almost gets run over by a car. That's when Bem, a mysterious man with a cane, saves her before running after the robber himself. Sonia, confused, chases after him, but she's much slower than him, and so Bem is able to reach the robber's hideout way before her. But strangely enough, he finds the robber dead and realizes that it must be that thing's doing. Sonia arrives, and with the help of the police, locks down the area to investigate. The only clues left behind are a wallet and a foamy-like substance bubbling out of his mouth. Jansen, the senior police officer, checks the crime scene, and after confirming that the robber died by drowning, he reveals that this robber is the 6th victim tonight, and the 5 others also died by drowning, and, strangely in places where there was no water. Sonia suspects this to be a serial murder case, and so she wants to start investigating, but Jansen tells her to rest today and start tomorrow, as this is just the usual in the outside. Sonia goes back to the place where she had parked her car when she learns from a pedestrian that the lady who claimed she was robbed sold it off, meaning that the entire robbery play was an act. Well, except for the murder part. The next day, Sonia goes out with Officer Jansen to learn more about this city and its rules. She sees that the town is barely functioning, and there are youngsters dealing drugs in broad daylight with no fear at all. Jansen stops his car in front of the Helmsman building and returns with a box filled with cash. Sonia is left speechless. She doesn't understand why Jansen just took bribes right in front of her. Jansen explains that the area they are in right now is controlled by the gangsters called the Helmsmen, and they pay the police weekly to look the other way. Apparently here, the police and the Helmsmen look after one another, and the citizens of the outside also know that very well. This goes against Sonia's ethics and she tries to protest, but Jansen simply ignores her. They keep going when Sonia notices that a guy is getting beaten up by 2 thugs, but Jansen ignores them too, claiming to be in a rush as he's got 3 more places to collect bribes from. Sonia has had enough of his BS, so she forces him to stop the car and gets out herself to save the guy being bullied. Seeing her coming, the thugs run away, but the guy doesn't even thank her for saving him and quietly walks away, leaving her wondering why no one wants to be helped. Oh, and Bem, the man with a cane from before, is keeping an eye on Sonia from the shadows, and I have no idea why. Later at night, a young lady is walking down the streets when, from under a sewer hole, a liquid emerges, and just upon touching her, drowns her to death before drowning the other 6 people watching in the distance. The liquid then reveals its true monster form and laughs, seeing the lifeless bodies all around him. Bem appears, and the water monster, targeting him as his next victim, tries to drown him. But unlike the others, Bem is able to free himself. He stabs the monster with his cane, electrocuting it using his superpowers. The monster expresses how impressed he is, and wonders if Bem also threw away his humanity just like him. Apparently, the monster was once a human, and one day, when he almost drowned, he chose to become water instead of dying to it, and ended up turning into this monster. Again, the monster asks Bem if he got his powers from the professor, but Bem claims to have no idea who the professor is. As there's no point in talking any further, the monster attacks Bem by turning into a whirlpool, but Bem is able to defend himself once again using his electrocution powers, and the monster, fearing for his life, retreats to the sewers. Bem's brother and sister, Bello, an emo kid, and Bella, a cute schoolgirl, meet up with him. Bella reveals that the 3 of them are yukais, and all 3 of them are on a journey to try to become humans. So she finds it ironic that the monster threw away his humanity so casually. Bello, however, thinks lowly of humans, so he couldn't care less about his siblings' goals, but is still tagging along with them, having nothing else to do. In any case, Bem wants to act fast, as he doesn't want anyone else to die, and he believes that by saving enough human lives, they will one day become humans. The water monster returns to its hideout, still experiencing the electric shock from earlier. A man is nearby, and seeing this supernatural beast, he frantically calls the police before the monster takes his life. The corrupt police officers, of course, don't even answer the call, and Sonia acts alone to handle this situation. The water monster grows weaker and weaker due to being electrocuted continuously, and, feeling helpless, it slowly crawls to the professor, standing menacingly in the distance, begging him to make him stronger. But as Bem crashes into the warehouse, the professor quickly escapes. The water monster is no longer 100%, which makes him furious, and blaming Bem, he attacks him with full power. But Bem effortlessly dodges every single strike coming at him. Sonia arrives, tracking the caller's location, and she is shocked to see this supernatural creature in front of her. But the monster is happy that another potential victim has made her way to him. He knocks out Bem, and then turns to Sonia when Jansen comes with 2 officers just to stop her from interfering with criminals. The monster slices them in half, but before he can hurt Sonia, Bem comes out of the rubble, transforming into his true beast form. This time, he easily defeats the monster and reduces him to nothing by electrocuting him. He has saved Sonia's life at the cost of exposing himself. And what does she do? She points her gun at the guy who just saved her life and shoots him. Bem is disappointed and escapes into the shadows, feeling betrayed. He meets with his siblings, who were watching this fight from the shadows, not wanting to reveal themselves in front of a human. Bela reprimands Bem for putting his trust in a human and getting betrayed, but Bela defends Bem, stating that if they don't trust humans, they will never become one. Somewhere else, a secret meeting is being held, and they are after Bem. The next day, another police officer named Joel takes Sonia to the fees collection locations, but she refuses to take bribes, showing that she's yet to be tainted by the outside. One day, the buried body of an unidentified woman and her phone is found near a graveyard, and Sonia takes the case herself, knowing how incompetent the other police officers are. On the upper side of the city, in a high school class, Roddy, a nerd, has totally fallen for his classmate, and she is none other than Bella, a monster in disguise. But she goes by a more human name, Annie, here, as her full name is Annabella, and she has many friends as well, who she hangs out with. Bella's friends mention how the nerd Roddy always keeps looking at her, and it's obvious to them that Bro's in love with her. One of the girls takes Roddy's notebook, where he was drawing Bella's sketch, and they find it both cute and creepy at the same time. Bella teases Roddy for a second for fun before leaving with her girlfriends. They go out shopping and hang out together. Bella looks like she's having fun until she goes away from them for a bathroom break, revealing her emotionless face once again. Bella walks by her, revealing he too came here with his friends, and both brother and sister are just practicing to be more like humans. A woman named Elaine suddenly approaches Bella, claiming to know her from high school. But how can that be? Their age gap is too high for them to know each other as high schoolers. But Elaine is certain that Bella looks the spitting image of her long-lost friend Mary from 10 years ago. Meanwhile, Sonia manages to identify the corpse through the forensic department's help, and coincidentally enough, it's Mary's body, who went missing 10 years ago. Sonia had sent Mary's phone to forensics as well, but they failed to salvage any data from it. So, she and her associate Joel decide that they will go to the upper side to get more leads on this case. The big question is how Mary ended up in the outside in the first place. The 3 Yukai siblings gather for a meeting, and upon learning about Bella's situation, they can only hope that the origin of their faces doesn't bring further trouble to them. Elaine meets with one of her old school friends, Dominic, and shows her the picture of Bella, who instantly recognizes her as Mary. Even Bella's hair accessory matches with the one Mary used to wear, and both of them wonder if it's Mary's ghost that has returned for revenge. It seems both Elaine and Dominic are related to Mary's death, and they are completely mortified because of it. Sonia and Joel investigate many of Mary's school friends, and to summarize, Mary apparently had stolen Dominic's accessory, and once she got caught, everyone stopped talking to her. A lot of bad rumors spread about Mary, and Elaine one of Mary's closest friends, was the one who spread most of those rumors. Sonia wonders what her next move should be. According to her, many had conflicting information about Elaine. Some believe she is a good person, while others absolutely hate her for lying endlessly and acting rich even though she is a commoner. Sonia looks up Dominic's info and finds that she's quite the rich lady, and her husband is an elite in the business world. Elaine's husband, on the other hand, works for Dominic's husband, meaning she's lower in status. Bela heads back to the ball when 3 rich guys try to harass her. Everyone keeps staring from a distance, not stepping forward to help her, which pisses Bella off. She is about to take action herself, but thankfully Elaine comes there with 2 guards, saving her. Apparently, the only reason Elaine's here is because Bella wanted to meet her. This time, Bella doesn't wear the accessory, which puts Elaine at relief, as Mary used to wear it every single day. She gets a phone call from a withheld number, and it's actually a call from Sonia, but she doesn't pick it up, wanting to give her full attention to Bella only during their meeting. Bella explains that the reason she called Elaine here is because she wants to learn more about Mary. So Elaine shares with her how Mary was back when she was alive. According to her, Mary dreamed of becoming a jewelry designer one day and always used to make her own accessories. Then one day, her classmate Dominic accused her of stealing her accessory. Elaine claimed she tried to make both of them reconcile, but Dominic only agreed if Mary took a test of bravery by going to the outside. Mary agreed and left the upper side, only to never return. In any case, Elaine gives Bella an accessory as a gift that apparently Mary had made just for her, and Bella gladly accepts it. She wears it to class when suddenly she gets a message. Reading the contents of it, she rushes to the graveyard immediately and runs into Dominic. Dominic sees the accessory on Bella's hair and confirms that it was indeed Mary who stole her accessory. Bella explains that Elaine gave it to her yesterday and then tells Dominic that she received a message from Elaine that Dominic was about to kill Elaine just like she had killed Mary. Dominic is confused, but before she can react, a rolling boulder hits her and takes her life. The boulder turns out to be a cyborg hitman named M, who had originally killed Mary, and he attacks Bella with his bowling balls. Sensing danger, Bella transforms into her Yukai form and easily defeats him. Pinning him down, she demands an explanation, and he, desperate to live, reveals that Elaine hired him both times to kill Mary and now Dominic and Bella. Bella, of course, doesn't spare him, and after punishing him for what he did, she returns to her human form. For obvious plot reasons, she isn't wearing any clothes. Her 2 brothers, who were watching her from the sidelines, approach her, and Bem gives her his jacket to cover her treasures. Belo reveals that it was Elaine who had set up everything, including the 3 thugs who attacked her earlier at the mall. He also assumes that Elaine did all this because she wanted to blame Dominic's death on Mary's ghost. Bela can't believe that she was used like that, so she confronts her at her apartment, calling her a dirty woman who can't do anything but lie. Elaine isn't remorseful in the least and reveals her true psychopathic expressions, stating that she hated Mary for being too positive and had only kept Dominic alive to leech off her money. Bela realizes how despicable Elaine is and decides to remove her from the face of the earth. Enraged, she transforms into her second Yukai form and is about to choke the life out of Elaine when Bem intervenes. Sonia makes it there as well and catches both Bem and Bella red-handed. Bem explains the situation to Sonia, revealing that he was the one who called Sonia here. Sonia decides to trust the Monster Man and arrests Elaine for her crimes, and later, some of her classmates confess that it was Elaine who made Mary take the bravery test. Later, Bello asks Bella why she took Mary's face specifically, and Bella explains that the night Mary died, Mary was screaming for help over and over. Bella couldn't save her, but at least wanted to live as her. That's why she took her face. Now, Bella returns to class and she allows Roddy to draw her face from the front, because unlike others, he's honest with his feelings. One particular night, the rich and powerful are having a rooftop party on a building at the upper side area. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a man is shot in the neck by a shadow figure who disappears into the darkness. Soon after, the news is spread that the victim, Mr. Smith, a representative of the city, died due to an illness. Joel knows that isn't the case, and informs Sonya that Smith was actually murdered. Apparently, Smith was planning to make improvements to Libra City. Another representative, Mr. Carver, who's also a developer, calls the press, announcing that he will be taking over Smith's committee and carry out Smith's plan. Carver also promises that he will turn the outside into a place where anyone can live safely. Meanwhile, the man who hired the Shadow Ninja to eliminate Representative Smith summons the Shadow Ninja again, telling the Shadow that he must eliminate one more target. This time, it's Carver. The three sibling Yukais can sense the stench of evil coming from the upper side. Sensing something terrible is brewing, Bela wishes to help, but Bela isn't interested in doing so, as he doesn't believe in Bella or Bem's fairy tale that they are going to become humans if they save humans. Instead, he goes to play games with his friends, but he doesn't get to have a moment of peace there too, as a group of delinquents comes there, demanding Bello and his friends to leave and never come back, claiming that the game center is their turf from now on. But as Bello's team refuses to leave, the delinquents' newest member, Daryl, challenges Bello to a House of the Dead face-off. Bello secretly activates his power, which acts like an aimbot, and he manages to win. Later, Daryl approaches Bello calmly, wanting to have a rematch at his home, that is, in the upper side. After several insisting and pressuring, Bello agrees to go, and shortly after, they arrive at Daryl's house that is filled with game stations and trophies. Before battle, Daryl takes Bello to meet with his father Bryson, who is Carver's secretary and bodyguard, and they too are in the middle of playing the shooter game. Carver is an optimistic man, so he preaches to the kids that he will make the city great again, but Bello argues, stating that purifying the outside is impossible. Still, Carver believes otherwise and promises to them, regardless, that he will create a better future for everyone. Bello thinks this dude is super naive, but doesn't bother arguing with him any longer and moves on to play with Daryl. They are playing Tetris when suddenly Bello senses something evil, so he rushes inside the room where Bryson and Carver is talking. Noticing that the Shadow Ninja has just mixed a toxin in Carver's wine, he unhesitatingly steps in and attacks the ninja, forcing it to fall back. Carver is about to thank Bello for saving his life, but Bello disappears, now that his supernatural reflexes has been exposed. The news of this murder attempt is broadcasted, and Carver, who I'm thinking is genuinely a good man, takes it as a mere obstacle in his path to purifying the city. Sonya and Joel watches the news, and Joel cannot help but make the joke that Carver is also going to die from an illness soon. It seems that Shadow has another employer who meets him at his hideout and gives him the green light to act out in the open. Bryson questions Daryl, asking him where he met this mysterious kid. Upon learning that Bello is from the outside, Bryson strictly tells Daryl to never see him again, fearing that Bello is part of an assassin group. Still, Daryl, believing that Bello is a good person, goes to meet with him at the outside. Daryl makes it clear that he doesn't care who Bello is or what he is associated with. He just wants Bello to be by his side in the future when he grows up, claiming to share the same dreams and goals as Carver. So, he offers friendship and asks Bello to come by his house again. Trusting in this kid, Bello agrees and smiles for the first time. On the other side, Carver is found dead, and according to Bryson, the Shadow Ninja was behind the murder. With two representatives dead, Bryson then joins his sketchy comrades in a cruise ship, celebrating the removal of Carver and Smith, revealing that the unseen council that secretly rules this city is behind both representatives' murder. Bryson assumes leadership and makes plan to take down the unseen council himself so that he can have all the power. Bello reveals to be eavesdropping on their conversation from the other side of the river, and he's sincerely disappointed. Shadow's employer meets with Shadow again, wanting Shadow to kill the small fries this time that are now acting as big heads. The next day, Bello goes with Daryl to Daryl's house when he senses the Shadow's presence again. Bello rushes upstairs, but the Shadow has already gotten rid of Bryson. This time, he must not let Shadow escape. So he takes off his headphone, activating his Yukai form, and throws Shadow out of the window. He then transforms back to his human form and is butt naked, covered in blood. Daryl comes running there and finds Bello standing beside Bryson's lifeless body. So, naturally, he accuses Bello for murdering his dad, and Bello, unable to explain, runs away. The shadow crawls back to his hideout, severely wounded, but he isn't going to die as the mysterious professor is going to help him. The unseen council learns about Shadow's death, and they confirm with their intel that the killer is the Yukai codenamed Gamma. Sonya investigates a new case, and this time the victim's death is due to high-voltage electricity. According to Joel, there's been more unnatural deaths like this one, which leaves Sonya wondering if Bem is behind all of this. The only clue left behind is a note on the wall left by the circuit saying, "Your destiny is mine, monster." Bem learns about this new criminal, and he worries that the message from that criminal is addressed to him and his two siblings. Bello doesn't think that though, and he also doesn't care anymore as his trust in humans has completely ended. He even abandons his old friends and wanders alone in the streets. Meanwhile, the culprit is revealed to be Mr. Shock, and he is a member of an undisclosed club where everyone has supernatural powers. Shock's fellow members asks Shock why he is only targeting women, but Shock refuses to answer, stating arrogantly that none of them has the brain capacity to understand his reasoning. Others ask Shock why he's trying to get that Yukai's attention, but Shock, instead of explaining, once again retorts arrogantly. An older man doesn't like Shock's attitude, but just as he raises his voice, Shock fries the old man's brain off. At Bella's high school, Roddy has weirdly become obsessed with the latest death cases, and seeing him smile, every single girl, including Bella, is completely creeped out. Bella confronts Roddy, and Roddy explains that he's only excited because he is amazed by the fact that a supernatural being might exist, even though that being is killing women. Back at the police station, Sonya expresses her suspicion about Bem being involved in this case, and claims that back when the water monster killed Joel and two other police officers, Sonya had written in her report about Bem in detail. But her superior never sent it to the headquarters because he doesn't think anyone would believe that there exists a monster that is living disguised as a human. Sonya vows to catch the monster so she can prove his existence to everyone. Bem visits an acquaintance who runs a fake ID store and asks him if he knows about this professor who can give humans special powers. According to Bem's acquaintance, he heard rumors that a crazy professor lived here 10 years ago who had expertise in body modification. Later at night, Shock approaches a girl, expressing his love to her, and he kisses her before electrocuting her to death. He then leaves the same message on the wall for Bem, but as he's about to leave, Bem arrives. Shock asks Bem if he knows about a tale where humans become monsters. As Bem claims to have not a single clue, Shock uses his electricity on him, thinking he's not the monster he's looking for, then disappears, leaving Bem alone at the crime scene, who gets spotted by two pedestrians. Later, when Sonya's team heads to the crime scene, they learn from the two witnesses that they saw a tall man with a hat which matches with Sonya's description of Bem. Sonya is pissed and she goes running in the streets, hoping she'd meet Bem and can confront him for his crimes. But she forgets that she herself is a woman and is a potential target. And unfortunately for her, Shock spots her. He approaches her, saying her destiny is his to have, and this makes her instantly realize that he is the culprit. Shock is about to kill her, but he notices a surge of electricity in the distance, and realizing it's the monster's signal, he forgets about her and rushes there. The signal is from Bem, and he, getting into battle, transforms into his Yukai form. They are near the city's power plant, which makes me wonder why Bem chose this place. In any case, Starch, another man turned monster by the professor, attacks Bem, wanting to kill him himself. The fight gets paused because of Starch's interference, and Shock uses this moment to finally confront Bem, asking him if it's true that he's a Yukai, a monster from birth. Bem doesn't reply, which just means he's admitting to it, so Shock gets excited, expressing his long desire to defeat a real monster. He attacks Bem, but Starch defends him, wanting to have Bem for himself. Both sides clash, and as they have polar opposite abilities, their attack ricochets. One almost hits Sonya, who's just casually standing around the corner watching the fight with her mouth wide open. Bem protects her before telling her to run away, and she finally realizes that perhaps Bem isn't against humanity. Bela joins the battle in her yukai form, and having two yukais at one place, Shock gets so excited that he starts absorbing all of the power plant, and Starch dissipates, getting caught in it. Shock's reckless move also exposes his battery attached to his back, and Bello uses this opportunity to damage it from behind, leaving him powerless. Bella then shoots ice from her mouth, freezing Shock in place before Bem shoots a powerful electric bolt at him directly, putting an end to his pathetic life and also destroying the power plant at the same time. The Unseen Council is informed about this incident, and from the intel they have gathered, they get information on the last yukai, Beta. The leader of the Unseen Council, a creepy lady, reveals that the three creatures aren't yukai, but she doesn't go into details, and demands that those three creatures are brought to her immediately. Starch reveals to have barely made it out alive, but he is absorbed by another professor-made monster with vacuum cleaner powers. He is Sweeper, and his only desire is to clean this dirty town. But Bem, the town's unsung hero, isn't going to let him do as he pleases, because he's not only absorbing dirt, but also vacuuming real people. Sweeper escapes, leaving behind the people he had vacuumed, but Bem stays behind, focusing on saving the people while Bella chases after him. She reaches an alley where she sees the professor in the distance with his lantern dragging away what looks like a coffin. She, of course, doesn't know what the professor looks like, so she doesn't follow him and becomes more focused on teaching a lesson to the thugs that are trying to harass her. Sonia goes to the Upper Side's graveyard to offer flowers to Bryson's gravestone, and Bryson's son Daryl, who's there, thanks Sonia for coming. Daryl claims to know who the killer is and is going to avenge his father's death himself, telling Sonia that the Unseen Council is behind all of this. The only reason he can't report this to the police is because the entire police force is controlled by the Unseen Council. Meanwhile, Belo, who still believes that Daryl thinks of him as his father's killer, is still cornering himself and staying away from his friend. Belo's friends miss him, but they don't dare to approach him, as he always has this face that shows he doesn't want to be bothered. Sonia heads to headquarters along with the chief officer and reports her findings about the existence of monsters to the head officer. The head officer commends her for her discoveries before revealing that he is already aware of their existence. According to him, his superiors use the term humanoid monsters for these creatures, and they are currently aware of 3 humanoid monsters named Alpha, Beta, and Gamma that can disguise themselves as humans. Sonia also gives her opinion that these 3 humanoid monsters are not evil, but want to help humanity. She shares her latest encounter with Bem, who she now refers to as Alpha, because she doesn't know Bem's name. The head officer decides not to jump to conclusions just yet and entrusts Sonia with the job of capturing the 3 humanoid monsters, assigning her to join a special team. That team's operational commander, Feld, comes inside with a cold look on his face, and after introducing himself to her, he leaves as fast as he came. Before Sonia leaves, the head officer advises her once again to stay in her lane, reminding her that the reason she was transferred was because she always acted extra. The professor's assistant, Dr. Recycle, is currently conducting an experiment on Shadow's body at the lab. The Sweeper is there as well, and he desperately wants to clean the lab, wanting to make all filth disappear for good. Sweeper shares his backstory of when he was an actual cleaner in this city and basically had OCD. He considered his mom filthy as well for bringing many men home, so he cleaned his mom and the man she brought home one day. And since then, he's been using his super powerful vacuum cleaner to clean filth. Dr. Recycle offers to make Sweeper even more powerful, but in reality, he just wants to use him for his mad experiments. Sonia draws a sketch of Bem and gives it to Feld. Then they come to the outside's police station, where Feld clears out the chief's office, deciding to make it his own office space. Meanwhile, Sonia gets a lead on the humanoid monsters from the helmsman and goes alone to meet with the helmsman member, knowing Feld won't take the helmsman seriously. The helmsman member sees her sketch and confirms that this is the man he's seen several times walking with a teenage boy and girl with him. Later at night, Sweeper has now become integrated with a giant mecha, and he uses it to absorb all of the filth from this city. The police get many reports about this situation, but Feld refuses to act on it because he simply doesn't care for the people of the outside and only wants to get his hands on the Yukai trio. Having no choice left, the Chief and Joel call Sonya and tell her to deal with this emergency situation. Sonya accordingly approaches Sweeper, not thinking straight, and almost gets sucked to death. Not in that way, you dirty pigs. Bem saves her just in time before dashing away to deal with Sweeper, and Sonya, acting like the ungrateful biatch she is, informs Feld that she has managed to trace Bem. Bem, in the meantime, fights with Sweeper in his Yukai form and deliberately allows himself to get absorbed, destroying him from within. The day is saved, and Bem advises Sweeper, or at least what's left of him, not to make the mistake of tossing his humanity aside. Suddenly, 2 tanks filled with armed soldiers surround Bem, and they fire a smokescreen at him before hitting him with several special chains to contain him. Luckily for Bem, Sweeper goes out of control and absorbs all of the soldiers into his vacuum cleaner with the last bit of his powers. This allows Bem to get free, and both Bella and Bello also step in to save Bem. With them there, Bem is freed, and they easily escape from the scene without leaving any traces behind. Feld vents his frustration on Sweeper and kills him. Sonya asks Feld why he did that, as they could have taken Sweeper into custody and investigated him. Feld replies that he just doesn't care about anything else and only wants to get his hands on the trio. The creepy lady of the Unseen Council sees the footage of the trio, and it gives her pleasure. Weird. Somewhere else, a kid named Harazi is kidnapped by a supernatural guy who can light fire in his hands. A mysterious man known as the Gravity Man, who Harazi refers to as Val, comes to her rescue and burns the kidnapper to death with his own fire. Later, when Sonya investigates the crime scene, she can't help but wonder if the Yukai are involved in this case. Roddy hesitantly asks Bella to go with him to an illusions show in the outside area, telling her excitedly that all of the members of the show claim that they are aliens. As Bella surprisingly agrees to go with him, bro can't believe that she did. The mysterious little girl Harazi meets with the Gravity Man, and Bello, who notices, has never seen a weirder duo. There are pedestrians passing by, and they recognize Harazi and the Gravity Man, and apparently both of them are members of the Illusions show. Meanwhile, at the police station, Sonya gets a lead on this case after begging Feld for his help, and learns that the culprit is Val, who was once an astronaut, but after suffering from a severe injury in outer space near the moon, he obtained a special ability that turned him into a humanoid. So, she immediately leaves the station to go see Gravity Man at his Illusionists show. Bela and Roddy are also there, by the way. The show begins, and most of the performance is normal, like a circus show, until the main event. Gravity Man, with his powers to control gravity, makes a ball heavy, and Harazi can't pick it up. But then he makes the ball so light that Harazi is able to juggle them. Not only that, but pop them like balloons. Of course, most people think it's just an illusion, but judging from Bella's reaction, I bet it's real. After the event, Sonya meets with the showrunner and interrogates him, but the showrunner claims to have no idea about anything, as he cares about nothing except for talent. On the other hand, Roddy and Bella, on their way back, run into Harazi and Gravity Man. Bella, loving the show, praises Harazi and offers her some candy, when suddenly a huge, bulky man with the strength of a rhino picks a fight with them. Seeing the man's powers, Roddy faints, and with one man down, the bulky man then tries to attack Bella. That's when Gravity Man intervenes, and it's as if he orders the man to stop, and the man just does, as if he's being mind-controlled. Gravity Man then leaves with Harazi, and several hours later, the bulky man gains back control only to die on the spot. The next day, news spreads that the Gravity Man is a murder suspect for killing many people, and that he has kidnapped Harazi. Because of this news, the city is in an uproar, and Gravity Man must go into hiding with Harazi. The showrunner doesn't bother asking Gravity Man what the truth is, but trusting him, gives him a parting gift and tells him about a ship that can take both of them to another country. Both Bella and Bem don't think Gravity Man is evil, but they are aware that he does possess some special powers, like mind control and gravity manipulation, which makes him dangerous. Bela takes this matter personally, as she wants to prove their innocence and confronts them when they are about to head to the docks. She offers to help them escape, believing that Gravity Man is innocent based on nothing at all, and takes them through an underground tunnel that leads to where the ship is. Gravity Man, finally trusting Bela, tells her his story. After his accident on the outer layer of the moon, he passed through a space-time gravitational singularity and became something no longer human. 50 years passed for him, and when he woke up, he found himself in a secret military hospital where government officials experimented on him continuously. One day, Hirazi was brought into the hospital as well because she had the witch's powers, and the scientists began experimenting on her as well. Not being able to tolerate a kid being tortured, Gravity Man retaliated and escaped the hospital with Hirazi. Since then, they have been together as father and daughter. Anyway, Bela wishes them both farewell as they reach the docks, but much to Gravity Man's surprise, Sonya's team is already there and heavily armed. They begin firing at Gravity Man and don't stop even after Sonya tells them to. Bela, in her Yukai form, comes to their rescue, but gets caught just like Bem did. Gravity Man gets hurt badly, but he keeps protecting her until he passes out. This gets Hirazi enraged, and her powers go out of control. As she's about to explode the entire area, Bem and Bello rescue Bela and escape. Shortly after the explosion, Hirazi is seen taken captive, and it's revealed that Gravity Man didn't have any special powers at all, and he was just pretending to be the one using them so that no one suspected Hirazi. It's also revealed that the only reason Feld helped Sonya is because he was after Hirazi, and when Hirazi used up all of her strength, Feld finally captured her. Sonya realizes that this is all related to the Unseen Council, but what can she do about it? She's completely powerless. Bello, being lonely, makes 2 dogs his new friend. His old friends approach him, but he refuses to speak with them, not wanting to trust humans again. His friends build a doghouse for his pets anyway, and Bello is kinda thankful for that, even though he doesn't say it. Later at night, one of Bello's friends, Dave, secretly comes back to give the dogs some food, when suddenly, one of the dogs runs away sensing something. It stops before a man, and as Dave follows the dog there, the man smiles like a devil. Daryl, on the other hand, is gathering all the intel he can get, and desperately looking for a way to get to his father's killer. The police find a dead body that looks like it got mauled to death by something that had claws like bears. As to who the victim is, it is still yet to be revealed. Belo hears the townspeople's conversation with his super hearing and learns that Dave never made it back home. He goes looking for Dave everywhere, not knowing that his other friend is also being targeted somewhere else in the city, and it looks like a bear-sized rabid dog. Thankfully, Bello makes it there just before the girl can get hurt. He recognizes the dog bear as one of the regular dogs he had adopted, and as he calls the dog by its name, Whistle, it runs away. As the dog returns to that evil man from before, he beats it up for failing him. He reveals that this dog is his first human-dog hybrid creation, and Bello hears that. This time, Bello pays close attention to the dog and notices that the dog is wearing Dave's clothes. He refuses to believe reality and tries to make Dave regain control if he's still alive somewhere in there. The evil man escapes in his van while Bello fights Dave. Daryl, on the other hand, uses his father's tech to locate where Bello is right now, but he finds 2 monsters fighting against each other. Dave hits Daryl, but before he can hurt him any further, Bello makes the difficult choice and stabs him in the stomach, putting an end to his misery. Bello then returns to his human form and is about to walk away when Daryl stops him, clearing the misunderstanding between them. Daryl claims to acknowledge that Bello is a good person, but when Bello drops his guard, Daryl shoots him in the chest with his gun, still believing that Bello is the one who killed his father. Bello's gun wounds heal instantly, and he doesn't even bother wasting any more time with this brainless loser, so he dashes away from there. He still has to avenge his true friend Dave, and using his super hearing, he finds the crazy human-animal breeder in a pet shop where he conducts his crazy experiments. Not showing any mercy, he ruthlessly attacks the man, but before he can kill him, Bem stops him, reminding him that if he kills a human, he can never become one. But Bello finds a loophole and frees the experimented creatures from their cages, so that they can do the killing. After the deed is done, Belo looks around the shop and finds a secret room where kidnapped kids were also kept, and amongst them, Dave is there too, and it brings a smile to Bello seeing that his friend is well. Dr. Recycle learns about the mad animal hybridizer and calls it a shame that he got killed because he could have been a worthy rival of his. Belo finally decides to give his friends another chance and gets on speaking terms with them again. The next day, an intense basketball match is taking place at Bella's school, where all the girls are cheering loudly for the boys, except for Bella, as she has no interest in the game. The star of the game, Albert, is a transfer student and the son of a renowned opera singer, so he instantly becomes a chick magnet and the center of attention. Bella doesn't like the noise, so she goes to the rooftop alone and listens to music. She hums along, and that impresses Albert, who claims he got lured there by her pretty voice. As he compliments Bella's singing, she gets all red and shy. Albert invites Bella to a party at his house, and as he says that he wants her to meet his mom, she gets shy again and accepts his invitation. Somewhere else at a garage, a high-frequency noise kills a woman, and the culprit, well, it's a woman too, with her face still undisclosed. Going back to Bella, she goes seeking advice from her friends hesitantly, asking them what kind of clothes she should wear for a formal event. The girls get excited, as they just love to pick clothes for others. Bella also wants to look beautiful, and when she learns that Albert's mom has pretty big jugs, she wants some big jugs for herself as well. The woman we saw earlier getting murdered was in her mid-20s, and according to the police, there have been several other recent cases of women of this age dying with their throats ripped out. Joel notices that all three of the victims have one thing in common: they worked in the voice industry. Meanwhile, at the professor's laboratory, the culprit brings the three victims' vocal cords to Dr. Recycle for something, but Dr. Recycle claims none of them are usable, so she agrees to bring him more, and this time something special. The girls are in their swimsuits at Albert's party, but Bella isn't wearing one, nor did she bring a swimsuit, as she didn't know there was a swimming pool there. Roddy is in the bushes, spying on Bella, and Bella's friend realizes that Roddy only came to make sure Bella doesn't fall for her other romantic interest. Speaking of romantic interests, Albert approaches Bella and takes her to meet his mom, Julia, who's wearing the same clothes as the culprit, meaning she's the one going out stealing vocal cords, and I'm assuming it's to enhance her voice. Anyway, Julia expresses how jealous she is of Bella's body, and upon learning that she's got a great singing voice as well, the old lady suggests she audition for a producer who is looking for new upcoming singing talent. Roddy, on the other hand, is eavesdropping on them from the other side of the door, and he looks upset. After the party, Bella shares her experience with her two brothers and also mentions that recently her cheeks get red and her heart keeps racing. Bem grows tense, thinking it's some sort of abnormality, but Bello instantly realizes that his Yukai sister is developing human teenage feelings and finds it hilarious. The police figure out that the culprit is using Blue Note, a type of sound wave that can destroy hard disks of any components, and that's why there's been no security footage of the killings. But thankfully for them, one security camera survives, and it shows exactly who the culprit is. The next day, Albert drops Bella at Julia's workplace, a theater where Bella is supposed to audition. But as they enter the auditorium, Julia reveals her true intentions and transforms into a clam-faced monster. She then produces the Blue Note with her mouth, but Bella doesn't die because, well, she's not human. Julia's two assistants come there, and the monster lady vents out her frustration on them by killing them first. Albert hears the noise coming from the auditorium, but as he enters, he only finds Julia there. Julia uses her powers to put her son to sleep, then once again looks for where Bella went into hiding. Julia, desperate to get back her youth, uses her power in full force to get Bella out from hiding. Bella comes out in her Yukai form, but struggles to fight as Julia uses reverberation to attack Bella in ways she can't predict. Bella is unsure of what she should do. She doesn't want to hurt the lady because she is Albert's mom, but when the lady desperately goes totally out of control, the stage crashes on top of both of them. Unlike Julia, Bella is a Yukai, so she doesn't get hurt. Albert wakes up and he runs away in fear at the speed of light, seeing a monster standing on the stage. This is Bella's first heartbreak. But I guess it isn't the end for her love life because Roddy comes there, and upon seeing Bella, he clicks her picture before calling her extremely beautiful. Roddy, of course, doesn't know that this Yukai is Bella, and he's completely fallen for her. Bella is kinda glad to see it, but she knows that if Roddy finds out about her identity, his feelings wouldn't stay the same. Daryl is awake at night investigating the unseen council when suddenly a much more robotized version of Shadow Ninja appears before him, showing him footage of Bello before displaying a visual message asking where Bello is. Daryl, without thinking twice, blurts out everything: where Bello hangs out, where he lives, everything. Meanwhile, Bem meets with a man named Gavin Briggs at a bar, a politician who has made several claims that he can heal humanoid monsters. So Bem shows Gavin his transformed hand, and Gavin, seeing it, is amused. He thanks Bem for trusting him and promises that he will cure Bem of his pain by turning him into a human. Apparently, Gavin is the owner of a world-famous medical equipment company that has begun researching humanoid monsters. Gavin believes that he can cure humanoids, having both the technology and the facilities needed to do so. Gavin is also one of the representatives who, I guess, wants to become the mayor of the city, and to get votes from everyone, he tries the pity route, telling the audience that he grew up in the outside and plans to transform it so that it becomes a crimeless haven like the upper side as well. On the other side, Shadow comes to the game center where Bello and his friends hang out, and he first attacks the manager of the game center. Bello lures Shadow away from his friends, allowing them to escape. Then he engages in a battle, which ends with the game center blowing up. Bello manages to escape though, and reunites with his friends outside, telling them to go back home, but they refuse to leave Bello's side, afraid that the ninja will attack them again. So Bello tells them about this shop on 67th Road, assuring them that if they tell the shopkeeper that he sent them, the shopkeeper will keep them safe. Just after saying so, Bello, with one jump, climbs a 7-story building in front of his friends, who are completely amazed by this revelation. The next day, a rumor spreads throughout the city that Gavin takes bribes and is not a good man. Gavin meets up with Bem and claims innocence, stating that this is the unseen council's doing as they run the city from the shadows. Roddy at school watches the news again, where Gavin has called the press, pleading with them not to hate him, stating that the accusations thrown at him are forged. Roddy doesn't know if he should trust this man, but he is certain of one thing, and that is Gavin's passion to cure humanoid monsters. Soon after, more accusations are thrown at Gavin, like the murder of Representative Carver, and the court finds him guilty all charges. So before going to jail, he leaves everything and goes back to the bar to meet with Bem one last time. Bem drinks even though he cannot taste it. He shares how sad it is to live as a Yukai who can live for eternity just by drinking water. Bem doesn't even know why he was born this way. He believes living like a regular mortal is the only thing that can bring him peace, and that's one of the reasons why he wants to become human. Gavin really wants to help Bem, but how can he, as the unseen council has stripped him of all his powers? In any case, he bids Bem goodbye until the day comes when he gets released from jail, as none of the accusations are proven against him. Bem is the first one to meet him outside, but because this is a public area, Feld manages to trace Bem using a machine learning face detection algorithm. Bem and Gavin head to the bar again, and there Gavin once again promises Bem that he will save him. Maybe not today, definitely one day in the future, as it is his life goal to help everyone he can. Gavin then asks what Bem's been doing all his life, and Bem states coldly that he too, like Gavin, has been helping people every single day, believing that one day he will be able to become human this way. On their way out, Gavin requests that Bem show him how he truly looks, and Bem does when the Shadow Ninja comes there looking for Bello. Bello arrives there as well and informs Bem that this is the guy responsible for killing Carver and Bryson. As Bella enters the scene next, the trio tries to stop Shadow. Shadow notices Bello not paying attention and throws a kunai in his direction. Gavin, acting quickly, gets in between them to protect Bello, even though he is a Yukai who can heal infinitely and literally dies in vain. Bem is furious. He rips an arm out of Shadow, but before he can harm him further, Shadow escapes somehow. Feld arrives with his team and initiates a pursuit to capture all 3 Yukai. Bem goes into hiding when Sonya approaches him and brings him somewhere safe. The breaking news is broadcast throughout the city that Gavin Briggs, an ex-representative, was killed by humanoid monsters. On the other hand, Daryl somehow manages to get in contact with the Unseen Council and meets with a horribly creepy-looking woman who has Harazi sleeping on her lap. The head police officer holds a press conference and tells the public about the existence of humanoid monsters that are responsible for all of the deaths. He declares the humanoids enemies of mankind and issues the capture of 3 known humanoids: Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Feld realizes that Sonya has teamed up with Alpha, and so he decides to punish her himself for going against him. Sonya has taken Bem to a hotel where she reveals to him that it is the Unseen Council that is after him and his 2 siblings. She herself doesn't know much about the council and tells him that the reason she got transferred here was because she tried to dig up information about the council. The news is broadcast that Sonya is Bem's accomplice, and the hotel manager, seeing that, calls the police as a dutiful citizen. Minutes later, Feld arrives there with his soldiers and uses a smokescreen on the entire area despite there being civilians present. The hotel manager protests, saying they should make getting civilians back to safety their priority. But Feld doesn't care about the civilians. He shoots the hotel manager dead, deciding to pin his death and any other possible casualties on Bem. A family of 3 doesn't have anywhere to go, so Sonya brings them inside her car. And while Bem distracts the soldiers, she drives away. Daryl confronts the creepy lady, asking her if she's the true ruler of this city. The only reason he believes that is because he's learned that she's the leader of the Unseen Council. As the lady replies in the affirmative, Daryl then asks her if his father was eliminated solely because of the fact he discovered the existence of the Unseen Council. The lady claims to have no hand in it and puts the blame on the other council members, stating that they go crazy if someone tries to dig up information on them. Daryl doesn't care anymore and tries to strike a deal with her, telling her that she must let him rule this town, otherwise he will expose her and her council to the public. He claims to have gathered enough evidence on them, and if he doesn't return home, that evidence will automatically be uploaded onto social media platforms. The lady gives a hint that she has been looking for a new ruler for this city and reveals to him that she's been alive for hundreds of years, ruling over this city from the shadows. She shows him her memories, and her oldest one is in an alchemy lab where she was created by a mad alchemist. The alchemist was soon discovered and torched by the people, but the lady managed to escape to Rome. There she had a family, where she learned about humans and became a witness to a cruel world. This means she's a humanoid monster, and Daryl honestly doesn't know what to say. Harazi comes out, calling the lady by the name Vega. Harazi introduces herself to Daryl, and as they shake hands, Daryl gets a jolt of electric shock. Meanwhile, Lady Vega calls one of her subordinates and gives him the task of explaining to Daryl everything regarding the Unseen Council. Sonya drops the family off to safety. Afterwards, she calls one of her family members over the phone and requests that they get as far as possible from this city immediately. Bem has managed to escape as well, and he rejoins Sonya and asks her what their next plan should be. Sonya, feeling completely powerless, puts her trust in the people of Libra City and goes live on her phone, revealing everything she knows about the Unseen Council and that this council is responsible for all of the deaths, not Bem. Feld watches the live stream and thinks no one will believe Sonya's words except for the council members themselves. And because they are, like Lady Vega said, insecure about themselves, they will definitely do everything in their power to destroy Sonya. Feld gives the head officer another chance to redeem himself by capturing Sonya first, so the head officer meets with Dr. Recycle, offering to join hands to stop the humanoid monsters. Dr. Recycle doesn't trust the police a single bit, and when he learns that the Unseen Council is watching this, he gets even more hostile. Sonya's livestream surprisingly gets a positive response from people who have noticed the dark side of the city, but never tried to take any action. They want to hear Bem's story, and Bem, surprised to hear that humans want to talk to someone like him, agrees. But then suddenly, Sonya gets a call from Feld, and he claims to have captured her family, threatening to hurt them and pin their deaths on Bem's siblings if she doesn't come to the Colosseum. So, Sonya and Bem forget about their plan and immediately head to the Colosseum. Once arriving there, Sonya demands to know where her parents are, and Feld claims that he's already made a call to release them. So she's glad that they are safe. The head officer is revealed to have been turned into the Chainsaw Man by Dr. Recycle, and he's the big villain that Bem must defeat for his freedom. As Bem defeats the Chainsaw Man, Lady Vega applauds him, revealing she has been watching this fight from the shadows. Vega doesn't want any more violence and tells Bem to come with her. He obviously refuses, so Vega uses her powers on him, constraining him inside a force field that makes him suffocate. Bem's siblings rush to the Colosseum as well to rescue their brother, but they end up getting caught by Vega just like Bem. Vega explains the reason she needs them. She tells them the harsh truth that they cannot be turned into humans. More like they don't need to become human, because humans are weak, selfish, and hateful beings who will never accept yokai like them. Bem doesn't want to accept. His biggest fear is being called a monster, and not wanting to accept that, he releases all of his power, transforming into his second yokai form, allowing him to break free from Vega's hold. But Vega has another card up her sleeve, and it's the witch child, Harazi. As Vega tells Harazi that Bem is a scary, ruthless monster, Harazi, who doesn't know any better, uses all of her powers on him and he gets captured. Bello and Bella manage to escape during the explosion, and honestly, they don't know what their next step should be. Bem is held on trial by the court, and the case is heavily broadcasted to the people so that they can fall for the propaganda as well. Meanwhile, his siblings wonder if they should help Bem. Bello is against it, as he knows Bem is strong enough to escape on his own, and also the fact that Bem is being put on trial like a human. Bello thinks Bem will probably enjoy being treated like a human. Bella slaps Bello for acting like a total jerk and tells him that even though he claims he doesn't want to become a human, he's behaving like one, always running away from his responsibilities. Bello doesn't bother arguing, but then he senses Shadow nearby, so he rushes towards him alone in order to get to him. Back at the trial, Feld is on the opposite stand and decides to prove first that Bem is indeed not a human by electrocuting him with a voltage that can easily deep fry a human. Feld then shows further proof by showing police footage of Bem transforming into a yokai, and all of the onlookers are mortified seeing this. Feld continues, accusing Bem of all of the recent deaths happening in the outside. Because his two accomplices haven't been captured, Feld demands that Bem tells them where his accomplices are. Sonya, on the other hand, gets a call from Bello's friends who are at the game store. They know that the police are looking for Bello and have figured out that Bello is a yokai, but they still don't think that Bello is a bad person, and so they want Sonya to stop Bello from being wrongfully judged. Meanwhile, Bella's friends ask her to come to the school on an important matter, and so she goes there to meet them. There, her friends tell her that the police contacted them and told them that Bella is a yokai. Because of this incident, apparently everyone in school now thinks that Bella is a humanoid monster. So, Bella's friends suggest that Bella doesn't come to school for her own safety. Bella is glad to see that her friends are concerned for her, but what she doesn't know is that her friends actually lured her here to get her arrested. And as the police try to surround Bella, she is heartbroken and runs away from the scene crying. Sonya learns about Bello and his personality from his friends, and they make it clear that no matter what Bello is, they don't fear him, as he's more trustworthy to them than anyone else in the outside. Back at the court, Bem exercises his right to stay silent and doesn't say a word. So Feld moves on and calls his first witness, Daryl, to the court, who he believes will shed some light on Bem's gruesome crimes. Daryl swears to speak the truth and tells the court that Bello murdered his father, who was Carver's secretary. Apparently, Carver was investigating Gavin for wrongfully conducting research on humanoids, and so Feld believes that these yokais were created by Gavin as soldiers so that they could do his dirty work. The court believes it, and Daryl's work of manipulation is done. Dr. Recycle, surprisingly, is the second witness, who acts like a total hypocrite, telling the court that all humanoids must be eliminated, even though it's literally his job to create humanoids to destroy humanity. Sonya rushes to the court to testify, but just before she can enter, her chief notices her, stopping her from causing more trouble than she's already done. But with Joel's support, she manages to enter court and requests the judge to allow her to testify everything she knows regarding this case. The judge allows it, and she begins first by apologizing to Bem for putting him in danger, admitting that she shouldn't have ever gone against him as he saved her life several times. She mentions how Bem protected her from criminals and defeated them, and states that every charge put against Bem is false. She continues to say motivating words, and the only reason she gets to continue is because the audience wants to hear her side of the story. So she goes on to say that Bem is not evil at all and is more human than any of them present here. She thinks that they are the real monsters for separating the rich and the poor by dividing the city, and gives everyone the reality check that they are selfish, hateful beings who lie without hesitation and never speak against crimes just to protect themselves. Unlike these selfish humans, Bem has always shown that he wants to protect the city despite how cruelly he's been treated. Feld has enough of her nonsense and tells Sonia to save her nonsense confession for the church. The judge also agrees that most of Sonia's information cannot be taken into consideration because she doesn't have any proof to back it up. Just to get her to shut up, Feld shows Sonia a picture of Bem's true form and asks if she can ever fall in love with a creature like this. He also asks everyone present the same question. Can they accept this hideous being as a member of the city? As everyone remains silent, feeling conflicted by their own feeling, Feld requests the judge to conclude this case immediately and move to eliminate the yokai. The judge, despite Sonia's emotional speech, sentences Bem to death and declares that Bem's execution will be held publicly as soon as tomorrow. As Bem is taken away, Sonia feels sorry and begs Bem to forgive her. Bela throws away her school ID card, indicating that she's decided to change her identity. Roddy approaches her, even after learning the truth. To get him to go away from her, Bela transforms into a yokai, but that just impresses the weirdo even more. Regardless, Bela runs away from him, feeling ashamed by her own appearance. Meanwhile, Dr. Recycle prepares a special bullet and sends it to Feld, claiming that it can kill Bem. Belo, on the other side, learns that Daryl is targeting everyone he cares for and has attacked a shopkeeper, but as Belo carries the shopkeeper outside, no one dares to come near him, recognizing him as one of the yukais. Bem, in jail, is approached by Vega, who expresses to him that she can't wait for the execution, as she is eager to see the look on the people's faces when they figure out that yukais cannot die. Since Bem has always wanted to become a human, Vega offers him a chance to become one, revealing to him that she's gotten her hands on something that she believes can end his life. Bem, in reply, tells Vega that if they are able to kill him, they won't hesitate to kill Vega as well. Vega tells Bem to worry about himself, and once again asks him if he still wishes to become a human even after seeing how cruel they can be. Bem expresses his desire to wake up each morning and feel the sun, to cultivate a piece of earth, to grow his daily bread and end his day grateful for his life, then wake up and do it all again. Vega thinks that this is a boring goal, but Bem thinks her life must be boring as heck as well, since she's been living the same way for 1,000 years. But Vega states that she's still yet to achieve two things that can make her life exciting again. First, giving birth, and second, dying. Anyway, she's had enough entertainment, so she bids Bem farewell and leaves. The next day, Bem is brought to the bridge that connects the two sides of the city for his public execution. Meanwhile, Belo confronts Daryl, who's taken his 3 friends hostage, whereas his sister charges into the Unseen Council's building to rescue Harazi. Daryl points a gun at Belo, calling him a filthy monster, but one of Belo's friends stands before him to protect him. Belo's friends remind Daryl that he and Belo used to be good friends, but Daryl isn't going to be convinced. He summons the Shadow, who stabs Belo in the guts, and at this point, I lost count of how many times Shadow has stabbed Belo in the same spot throughout the series. In any case, Belo reveals to Daryl that it was Shadow who had killed Daryl's dad, and leaves it to Daryl to believe what he wants. Harazi recognizes Bela, and that allows her a chance to communicate with the little girl. Harazi is scared to go outside because people have always been mean to her, to which Bela agrees, mentioning how people have been mean to her as well. But she promises that Harazi will one day make friends who will care for her, so she requests her to come along with her to give the world a second chance. Now that Shadow's secret has been exposed, he attacks Daryl, but Bello protects him and finally kills Shadow. Bello's friends surprisingly don't hate him, even though he looks like a hideous beast. Rather, they find it cool. But regardless, Bello runs away from them, feeling ashamed of himself. On the other side, under Feld's command, guns are fired on Bem, and at first, it looks like it has affected Bem and brought him down. Lady Vega gracefully walks there, and Feld, who once worked under her, doesn't waste a second to betray her, exposing her to everyone that she too is a Yukai, so she too must be killed. Vega figured that this would happen, but regardless, the reason she's here is to reveal that Yukais cannot die. She figures that Bem is only playing dead to give the people of this city what they want. Bem, on command, heals his gun wounds, admitting that this is the case. In any case, Vega doesn't have any need for Feld anymore, as she claims to have found a successor, so she yeets Feld into the air using her powers before kissing Bem, releasing a beam of dark energy that causes the bridge to start collapsing. It seems that if two Yukais get romantically involved, it creates a force that can create something new at the expense of both of their deaths. Vega admits that her plan is indeed to give birth to a new Yukai through her death, but she cannot do it alone and requires Bem's help. She clarifies that if they, touch and do more kisses, she can give birth and die at the same time, and finally be able to experience what a human woman can. However, that power release will end up destroying the city, and everyone will die. So, one freaky woman wants to become a mother, and millions have to die as a sacrifice for it. Bem isn't letting that happen. Meanwhile, Sonya manages to capture Dr. Recycle and Feld together, and Dr. Recycle confesses in front of the press that if the Yukais die, it will cause something similar to a nuclear explosion strong enough to wipe the entire city off the map. Feld shows his true character in front of the camera and is glad that this filthy city is going to disappear for good. But he wants to kill Sonya himself as she's annoyed the life out of him. But before he can shoot her, Joel shoots him first and kills him. Bella comes there with Harazi and gives Sonya the responsibility to take care of the kid, putting her trust in her because Bem trusts her. Before parting ways with Harazi, Bella makes the kid promise she won't use her powers anymore, reminding her that if she does, everyone will be mean to her. Then, Bella heads into battle to help her brother, and Bello joins her as well. As the three Yukais get together, Vega is forced to transform into her Yukai form as well, and I must admit she looks like a freaking demon. Before fighting her, Bem warns his siblings not to let Vega touch them or kiss them, and with that, they head into battle. Working together, they still fail to beat the overpowered villain. They try out several strategies on Vega, but none of them work. Vega once again tries to preach her plan to die together to them, but the trio, of course, doesn't want to die before experiencing what it feels like to be human. And with the determination to become one, they fight with all they've got. Bela freezes Vega in place and lets her get stabbed to buy Bem the time to attack Vega. Bem stabs her before releasing a lightning jolt on her. Bem refuses to let go, deciding to fight endlessly if it means that the people would be safe, and as the bridge collapses, it takes the four Yukais down with it. The story ends with everyone going back to living their life normally. Daryl becomes the new leader of the Unseen Council. Bela's friends attend class like nothing happened, and Sonya takes the role of Harazi's adoptive mother. But deep down, everyone hopes that the trio who were protecting them from the shadows will return again. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It's free and you can always change your mind. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.